All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are popping the hood on the U.S. Congress. It's really the engine of American lawmaking, and we're going to dig in to see exactly how it all works, and, maybe more importantly, why it works the way it does.
So let's start with a puzzle, right? One that I think really gets to the heart of this whole thing. How can Congress, the same institution, sometimes pass these huge, massive bills in what feels like a flash, and then other times a single senator can just grind everything to a complete halt? How can it be both incredibly fast and incredibly slow?
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle that. We'll start with the two-chambered engine, the basic design. Then, we'll get into a tale of two powers, who does what. We'll look at the power of the purse, all about the money, and then we'll break down the two sides, the House, which is geared for speed, and the Senate, which is really built to be a brake.
All right, let's get into it. The first thing you've got to understand is that this whole setup was completely intentional. The framers of the Constitution, they deliberately designed Congress to have two chambers, a bicameral legislature. This wasn't an accident.
The whole point was to create an internal check and balance on power. Think about it. By forcing any potential law to pass through two totally different bodies, it has to be debated, it has to be shaped, and it has to be approved twice. It's a system designed to be careful and deliberate, not necessarily fast.
Now, even though both chambers have to agree on a bill to make it a law, the Constitution gives each of them their own specific jobs. And this division of labor is fascinating because it has a huge impact on how policy actually gets made.
So check this out. There's a real logic to how they split these powers. The House of Representatives, they're up for re-election every 2 years. So they're supposed to be closer to the people, right? So they get control over the things that are immediate, all the tax bills, the money, and starting impeachment. Then you've got the Senate, 6-year terms. They're meant to be the more stable, long-term thinking body. So what do they get? Big picture stuff. Ratifying treaties, confirming president's appointments for cabinet members, judges, you name it.
And yeah, speaking of money, let's talk about the power of the purse. This is huge. It's one of the most significant powers Congress has. They have total control over the federal budget. I mean, it's literally the fuel for the entire government engine. If Congress doesn't approve a budget, the government just stops.
But here's a really critical detail for understanding how this power works today. If you look at the budget, a massive chunk of it, I'm talking 2/3, is already spoken for. This is what's called mandatory spending. Think of it like it's on autopilot. It's for programs like Social Security and Medicare, and the funding levels are set by old laws, not by what Congress is debating this year.
And this really shows you how much things have changed. Look at this timeline. It's a huge shift in how policy gets made. Just 60 years ago, back in 1962, mandatory spending was only about a quarter of the budget. That means Congress was actively debating and deciding on the other 3/4. Fast forward to today, and that discretionary part, the part they actually fight over each year, has shrunk to just 25%. It totally changes the game for their annual budget fights.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the House. If Congress is an engine, this is the gas pedal.
So you've got 435 members, and they're all running for re-election every single 2 years. That design makes the House incredibly responsive to what the people want right now. But with that many people, how do you get anything done? Well, power has to be centralized and hierarchical. The leader of the majority party, the Speaker of the House, has a ton of influence over which bills even see the light of day.
And if you really want to understand the House's speed, you have to know about the Rules Committee. This thing is the key. It's basically a super powerful traffic cop for every single bill. So after a bill passes a regular committee, the Rules Committee steps in and sets all the terms for debate. They decide how long people can talk, what kind of amendments can be offered, everything. It's a structure that lets the majority party just push its agenda forward, fast.
Okay, now for the other side of the engine, the Senate. If the House is the gas pedal, the Senate is definitely the brake. Or maybe a better way to think of it is as a cooling mechanism. It's designed specifically to slow things down and force everyone to think a bit more.
The reason it's a brake is because of this powerful tradition of unlimited debate. And that one tradition opens the door for probably the most famous procedural tactic there is, the filibuster. It's pretty simple, really. A senator, or a group of senators, can just take the floor and talk for as long as they want. And as long as they're talking, a vote can't happen.
So how do you stop it? How do you break a filibuster and actually get to a vote? Well, you need to hit this magic number, 60. You need 60 senators to vote to end the debate. It's a procedure called cloture, and it's everything in the modern Senate.
And this right here is the whole ballgame. It's the central challenge of making policy in the Senate today. Just think about this for a second. To actually pass a bill, you only need 51 votes, a simple majority. But to even get to that vote, you need a supermajority of 60 to shut down the debate. This gives the minority party just enormous power to block the majority, either forcing them to compromise or just creating total gridlock.
So that's the whole story, really. It's the fundamental difference in their DNA. The House is all about majority rule. It's hierarchical, it's centralized, and it's built for speed. The Senate, on the other hand, is built to be more deliberative. Its rules are designed to empower individual senators and the minority party, all to force compromise.
And that brings us right back to where we started, that puzzle. Why is Congress both fast and slow? Well, because it was designed that way. That constant tension, that push and pull between the House's need for speed and the Senate's demand for deliberation, that's not a bug, it's a feature. That is the system. And it leaves all of us with a really big ongoing question. What's the right balance for making laws today, efficiency or deliberation?